Hey everyone, this is Ben from Cinema Gulp, and I'm going to be doing a quick shot review of The Legend of Tarzan.
The jungle consumes everything. It preys on the old, the sick, the wounded. It preys on the weak, but never the strong.
He is no normal man. He was thought to be an evil spirit, a ghost in the trees. No man ever started with less.
With low to moderate expectations going in, I found David Yates's The Legend of Tarzan to be quite a nice surprise. Taking his visual flair and unique color palette he used in the final 4 Harry Potter films, Yates brings fun, beauty, and class to a long-standing property that has been hit or miss the last 100+ years. Yates and cinematographer Henry Braham have definitely created an outstanding looking film. It's shot beautifully and in the vein of the classic golden era of cinema. There's something about the character of Tarzan that feels dated when you think about it, so it was definitely risky to try and pull it back out, dust it off for a younger audience. However, it really kind of worked. It's a film that knows what it's trying to do and feels rich in the mythology without taking itself too seriously or trying too hard to cater to the broad audiences. The decision to keep it set in the original time and setting was a really wise choice. It feels more authentic and engaging that way. Another really wise choice, the casting of the 2 leads. Alexander Skarsgård and Margot Robbie are great here. They have good chemistry and are both pretty outstanding physical specimens, so it's easy to see why they'd be together. Skarsgård has a really nice quality and subtleness to his performance. He chooses to stay brute and confident at first, and then really lets go and transforms some of that into warmth and tenderness. When we first meet both Tarzan, now going by his birth name John Clayton, and Jane, they're married and living wealthy. Robbie gives a strong performance, taking the classic character of Jane and giving her a much meatier presence. She's no damsel in distress. She's strong, confident, fearless, and smart. Things that women were never really written as when the character was originally conceived over 100 years ago. Samuel L. Jackson injects some nice humor and fun to the story as George Washington Williams. He's mostly playing Samuel L. Jackson, but it's a much needed presence alongside Tarzan as the outside voice of concern. Christoph Waltz is good here as well, as Leon Rom, the essential villain. His motivations are clear, and even though he's villainous, there are things about him that come across as conflicted and sympathetic at times. It's much more interesting than a simple mustache-twirling villain out to rule the world. There's issues with the film as well. As I really love the visual style and the camera work, I couldn't help but feel that the CGI renderings are all over the map. The apes look incredible, but then Tarzan swinging from vines looks pretty bad. I was really looking forward to getting to that point in the film, and they do make us wait for it. So when it finally happened, I was disappointed. The elephants, which are featured in probably my favorite scene in the film, look so real, and that short scene was utterly breathtaking. Good CGI has a lot to do with the colors around it and how the scene is lit. Some of the better looking CGI shots were all darkly lit night scenes. Possibly the best decision that the filmmakers made was to have Tarzan do his classic ululating yell off-screen. Yes, he does in fact yell out what Edgar Rice Burroughs referred to as the victory cry of the bull ape. But it's done perfectly. They actually succeed in making it work without sounding corny. Probably my favorite thing about the film is how the plot and characters evoke a sense of awareness without beating you over the head with it. The film is gorgeous to look at, but it's also thought-provoking at its core. Tarzan has always represented the bridge between humans and animals. The This film really nails that and touches your heart as you watch Tarzan interacting with all of the animals. It's done so well, and Skarsgård, though huge and intimidating, shows a nice tenderness that makes him likable and interesting. We feel his love for the animals. There's other themes in the plot as well, such as diamond mining and slavery. They're all touched on fragilely, but for the sake of it being a summer action fun film, they're not too heavy-handed. The Legend of Tarzan is a fun adventure film. It has something to say and says it right. The decision to set it years later in his life and the decision not to make it an origin story just strengthens it immensely. We all know the tale. The acting is solid and the action set pieces are great, though the film takes risks choosing not to give us an action scene every 5 minutes, so be warned. It takes its time getting established and possibly glosses over a bit too much of why Tarzan left the jungle for England and was so adamant about staying there. Some things are never made clear, but for the most part, its narrative is strong. I recommend seeing this film, if not for the great cinematography and sheer adventure, then for the beauty of the wildlife and what it represents. More importantly, what wildlife means to all of us on Earth. It's a beautiful thing. I only wish we all treated it as so. The Legend of Tarzan gets my top shelf audience chuggability recommendation, and I give it 7 gulps. Hope you enjoyed this quick shot review of The Legend of Tarzan. This is Ben for Cinema Gulp, and we drink your cinema.
I drink it up!